Hey guys, what's up? My name is Esther Onema, and I am back at it with another Salesforce developer tutorial. So today's tutorial is going to have to do with controller extensions. I'm going to be building off of a Visual Force page I had created in my last tutorial. If you had not seen that tutorial, please feel free to check it out, or if you're really lazy to do so, just pause this video, copy this code here, and you're literally all caught up. So let's go back to our the Visual Force page itself. And it's basically a Visual Force page that builds off of the case object titled vendor help requests. And of course, it's going to ask the user for these input parameters. Once the user's filled out this stuff, they're going to click submit, and a case revolving around whatever was submitted is going to be created. Pretty straightforward, pretty intuitive. Now let's take it to the next step and apply a controller extension. What is a controller extension? Controller extension is an Apex class that extends the functionality of a standard or custom controller. And then it goes on to say you can use a controller extension in the following scenarios. Although this is a scenario we're going to be working with today. I want to add a new action. So what action am I talking about? So let's say that I always know who's going to be submitting these vendor help requests. It's always going to be avatar, whoops, yeah, avatar Ang. And because it's always him that's going to be submitting it, I'm always going to know his email address. So avatar@air.com. But let's say I don't always want to have to type it out. As soon as I open the Visual Force page, wow, I did not notice that. As soon as I open the Visual Force page, I want these two fields to already be pre-populated with this information. How can I go about doing that? Have no fear, Salesforce provides an excellent solution to go about doing so. Now, I believe you can implement a workflow rule. Correct me if I'm wrong, but today we're just going to go and take the coding route. So we're going to create a controller extension. Yay. File, new, Apex class. Let's just call it. Really? That's embarrassing. Perfect. And because we are good programmers, we do that. We do not do this, we do that because we want our brackets to align. Good programmers have their opening and closing brackets aligned. Next thing we're going to want to do is create a member variable for our class. So I'm going to say public case, and let's give it a name, my case. So for those of you that are not familiar with object-oriented programming, at first this stuff may seem a little confusing, but the more you do it, the more you get better at it. Personally, I wasn't always a great coder, but with time I became pretty comfortable in my talents. And what really helped me was to learn more languages. I recommend you learn Java, C++. Those are great object-oriented programming languages, as well as Apex itself. But learning not only Apex, but other object-oriented programming languages will help solidify your skills as a programmer. Some resources to getting better at programming, I'll drop some links below, but let's just continue with this tutorial here. So now that we have our member variable created, we want to create like the actual method. So I'm going to say public. It's going to be the exact same name as your class. Because we're good programmers, we have our opening and closing brackets aligned. And then, oh, we forgot to include the input parameters. So it's going to be Apex Pages. dot. And let's give it a name. So what exactly is this doing? All I'm basically saying in this line here is my method, my controller extension has to do something specific. Those specific things are going to be written in here. But for now, I want it to also be able to reference commands and methods that are already pre-existing. Those pre-existing methods have already been provided by Salesforce in the standard controller. I guess it would make a little more sense if you look back to the Visualforce page itself. And as we recall, standard controllers are basically what Salesforce provides us as an out-of-the-box setup of methods and actions that could be called within our Visualforce page, such as in this case, save. This is a method that has already been created by the standard controller of type case. So all I'm basically saying here is I don't want my controller extension to do all of the work itself. I also want it to be able to use pre-existing Salesforce standard controller stuff, which I just explained. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I highly also recommend you read the developer docs to look more into that if what I said wasn't coherent enough. Anywho, let's get to the actual coding portion of it. So within this here, we're just going to say this dot my case, my bad, because this is the name of a variable. And I'm going to typecast this. All this line is saying here is that my member variable that I created is just going to be referencing the current record we are looking at right now. In this case, the record we're looking at is basically this Visualforce page right here. And we made sure to typecast it because remember, there are several different types of standard controllers we can be referring to. The best way to know which way to typecast your record is look back here, look back at your Visualforce page, and just look what follows the standard controller. Case. Perfect. So I know I'm going to be working with the case object, which is why I will be typecasting this record, the standard control record, as a case. So from now on, my member variable, this right here, is going to be referring to whatever here is on this page, or the current or whatever Visualforce page utilizes this controller extension. Now here's where the fun begins. We actually don't have to worry about any technical schmechnical stuff. Let's just look back and say, what fields did I want to be pre-populated again? The given name and the email. Now, if you remember from my last tutorial, this isn't the actual name of the field. I just changed the label. So let's just look at this here. This is actually the web name field. So this given name is actually the web name field. I just renamed it. But I want it to be pre-populated to be avatar ang. So I look at the web name and I get its field name, aka the API name. I copy it and set that perfect. And I also said I want the email address to be populated as well. believe this is correct. It should not throw us any errors. All right, and the last thing we have to do is just make sure we actually reference the controller extension we just created. So we're going to say extensions, copy the name we provided it with, hit save. Taking a while to save. All right, and code looks pretty perfect, no errors. And let's close that. And let's see if our controller extension actually does what we want it to do. So hit preview and ta-da! Perfect. So just like we said, we wanted the name field and the email field to be pre-populated whenever we open this Visualforce page. Excellent. This is exactly what we wanted our controller extension to do. So let's just put in a subject. Because we're desperate. And we just submit it. And ta-da! A case was submitted with the pre-populated fields, as well as everything else we provided it with. Now, it's very important to note that the case owner is different from the web name because web name was a text field. We just submitted it and it went without error. But case owner is a lookup field, and it's basically looking up who is the current logged on user, which happens to be me. Had my contact name had been Avatar Eng, that would have read Avatar Eng. But I'm logged in as Esther Onima, so it's Esther Onima. Aside from that, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I'm going to try being more consistent with my uploading schedule. I just have a few more exams to get through this semester because I'm in college. #suffering, #life. But anywho, I will drop down some helpful links below or provide any clarification in the comment section if anybody needs clarification on certain things. Aside from that, subscribe, stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much for watching this, and see you later.